Hello. This is the Professor of Thrones here. I didn't expect to be sitting here right now making a video today, but hey, we were given a surprise to be sure, but a welcome one. Yes, HBO decided to drop the new trailer or teaser for House of the Dragon Season 3. I would have guessed if they were going to drop a trailer, it would have been like right after the finale of Night of the Seven Kingdoms Season 1 finishes airing. But it seems they decided to drop it this week, maybe because of the sheer hype around episode 5. People were like, oh, people are really excited about Game of Thrones again and this universe again, so maybe we'll drop it then, like now, while we can ride the hype. But yeah, if you can't tell already, this is going to be just an off the cuff reaction video, no script. It's just going to be my like raw thoughts here. I have not watched this teaser yet, so this is going to be my live reactions, first impressions. I have not seen this yet, so I'm going to watch it all the way through. I might talk a bit over it, but I'm just going to sort of try to absorb it and process it. And then I will go back through and skim through and talk about specific points or note that I find. So yeah, I'm very excited. Let's jump right in here. I put on subtitles just so it's easier to see hear whatever it's saying. Okay, so Aemond is here. She thought he was going to be gone. That's the first big issue in the plan. Okay, Rhaenyra is being like fully transparent about it.
You cannot trust her.
Jeez.
The king has abdicated the throne.
Where are they?
A new dawn is coming. A new line of unsullied kings.
It's a new Hightower character, I guess.
You are the queen of dragons. You have an absolute power within your grasp.
Sooner or later, Rhaenyra will send her new dragons here. It would be the end.
This is the moment you become queen.
Okay. That's it, I'm imagining, yeah. Okay, so a lot to digest here. I should have said beforehand, but I'll say it now. This is going to be spoiler free for the books, or a book in this case. I'm just going to be off pure speculation here based on the show and the show continuity. So the show has changed a lot from the books already, so there's going to be a lot of new story elements, and the things I'm discussing here aren't me speculating based on what I already know from the book, but more purely from the show. So let's go back to the beginning. It's very interesting because I could see this all being episode 1. Just the way that they cut off the final 2 episodes from season 2. If you remember back then, HBO arbitrarily said, we want this season to be 8 episodes, even though it was already written to be a 10 episode season. And because the writer's strike was happening, they couldn't like really rewrite the season structurally around that like final 2 episodes being cut off. So the essentially what it seems like is going to happen is what was supposed to be the final 2 episodes of season 2 are going to be the first 2 episodes of season 3, which is really interesting and weird because it's like a climax at the beginning. Interestingly enough, that's kind of how the next book, The Winds of Winter, is going to be, but that's a whole other side tangent. Anyway, let's go back, and yeah, I'm going to be skimming through this and stopping at certain points. But yeah, like I said, pure show only speculation. I'm not going to be bringing my knowledge of what happens in the book into this. So okay, I said this before, but it's very interesting here because it seems like this is like Alicent's first arrival. She's in the same exact clothes. So this is her first arriving back at the Red Keep right after speaking with Rhaenyra. And she was under the impression that Aemon would be gone. But of course, here he is sitting on the throne. I thought the big issue that she would face is that she doesn't know that Aegon fled with Larys. So I thought that was going to be the big sticking point between, like, she lets Rhaenyra in. Rhaenyra promised her and Helena safety. Helena wasn't in this teaser, right? Where is Helena? Hashtag where is Helena? Anyway. Yeah, so I think another big sticking point is that Aemond is here, which I did not expect. Unless, this could all be clever editing. We don't actually know what's going to happen. This is just based on my speculation of the trailer. So she seems shocked by that. Yeah, she was not anticipating that. I was not expecting Rhaenyra to be as candid about this meeting as she is, because it's something that would just completely, like, infuriate her council that they managed to let Alicent slip in, and Rhaenyra was receptive and, like, listening to her. And I was expecting Rhaenyra to just be like, we move, and not convey that, but she's being transparent about it here.
She will open the gates of the Red Keep and surrender to me.
You cannot trust her.
I know this is probably clever editing because they're not in the same location right now, but it almost makes me feel like Daemon is like, oh, maybe the Jace kid isn't all that bad. He agrees with Jace, but I know they're not in the same location right now. I believe. Yeah, we last saw Daemon at Harrenhal, or departing Harrenhal. This could be him, but inside Harrenhal or back at another castle. Or maybe if they do take King's Landing, he immediately makes a beeline to King's Landing on his dragon or something like that. We don't know. But I know it's probably clever editing, but I like that little, almost like they're editing it like, oh, maybe that's a sign of approval. Okay, yes. Where are they? It looks like they're in a... I guess you could say it's a little jungle-y, but it looks like they're in a normal forest. So I'm not going to say what happens with them in the book. Like I said, I'm not giving any book spoilers, but it is interesting to me that they are in an environment of this kind. That is not something I expected to see. Because, like, this could just be a standard Westerosi forest, or it could be some sort of SOC jungle. But it's hard to tell if it's jungle or forest just from this one shot, but not where I expected to see them. That's all I'll say.
A new dawn is coming. A new line.
Oh, is that... So that must be... That be Darren? Or is that a different... Or is this editing? Because that looks like a probably green tents. That's probably high tower tents. This could be Darren, who, if you remember, is the additional son of Alicent / brother to Aegon, Aemond, and Helena that we have not seen in the show, that I thought they wrote out of the show, that in dialogue in last season they were like, oh, he exists and he's around, and we saw his dragon flying. So I think this might be him. One thing I'm very bad about in terms of my Song of Ice and Fire knowledge that I could really improve on, that a lot of people are better at me at, is being able to recognize dragons based on, like, shape and color scheme. Like, I'm very, like, dragon blind in that sense, to where, like, most dragons look the same to me. Like, of course there's, like, Daemon's dragon was a very peculiar shape, but, like, for the most part the rest of them are like, oh, kind of similar. So yeah, so I'm guessing this is Darren, who we're finally going to see, or Daron, however you want to pronounce it, and who we're finally going to see in this season. I feel like they probably should have kept him right out of the show instead of, like, forcing him back in, but it is what it is.
It's coming. A new line of unsullied kings.
Okay, yeah, this looks like to be a new Hightower character, some sort of Hightower general. I don't believe we've seen him, unless I'm, like, completely forgetting. I don't believe we've seen him yet, but they're giving shot emphasis on him. But then I remember the Game of Thrones final season when they gave, like, a lot of emphasis to Harry Strickland in the trailer, who was in the show for maybe all of, like, 2 minutes of screen time and served no purpose whatsoever. So who knows? But yeah, interesting. I love that armor design. It's very, like, you know, the Hightower imagery, the center with, like, the Faith of the Seven imagery coalescing around it. Really cool armor design. Some folks getting burned. I know it could be clever editing, not the same scene. But it's almost like Rainier is watching sort of approvingly.
You are the Queen of Dragons.
Daemon in battle. So then we got, you know, the Battle of the Gullet. It's Corlys going to try to break the green faction blockade. Or no. Yes, the green faction is trying to break the flag faction blockade. Sorry. I was thinking that in my head. I just said it wrong. And, you know, Corlys and Adam will have to defend it.
Absolute power within your grasp.
More battle footage. Was that Aegon? So
Absolute power within your grasp.
this looks like it's probably when Rhaenyra is arriving to take the throne, and this is probably her. They look like no, they're wearing black, right? It could be the lighting. They could be wearing green, but it seems like they're wearing black. So I was gonna say this is maybe Aegon's men defending against Rhaenyra's arrival, but it could be Rhaenyra defending against something. It's hard to tell with the lighting, but it might be. I think it's black uniforms. Some more battle footage. That looked like Aegon. Stabbing looked like a kid, maybe? So, yeah, I think it's Aegon. So I really don't know what's going on with Aegon's arc this season. Not where I expected to see him, but who knows? You know, like I said, I think House of the Dragon does a really good job of... There's gaps of knowledge in the book of what characters are doing at certain times before they show up again and emerge in a certain event. And those gaps are not filled in because there's no way the other people could have known about it, you know? So I think the show does a really good job. Like Daemon at Harrenhal, what's been going on with Helena, Alicent and Rhaenyra's meetings. Those are all additions to the show that I think are actually not bad, even though they weren't in the book, because it's things that clearly could have happened, but we would have no way of seeing them happen. So yeah, interesting.
Soon or late, Rhaenyra will send her new dragon's head.
So this seems like Alicent persuading Aemon to, like, okay, let her in, you know, like, if this is fruitless, what are we doing? But I can't see that being, that's not Aemon, you know, he's not gonna do that. So that's Jace. I wonder what door. So we see a few times Rhaenyra is banging on this door. I wonder if it's in her taking of King's Landing, and maybe Alicent is like hiding with Helena in this room. She's trying to get to Alicent. Or maybe she thinks Aegon's in there and is trying to get to Aegon. Or maybe she's trapped in somewhere and trying to get out. I don't know. You know, battle sequences. You know, that's probably clever editing.
This is the moment
You know, where like maybe that audio isn't part of the scene. But it almost sounds like Vision-y. Like almost like his audio sounds like it's coming from like that vision. I wonder if she's having a dragon dream here. I don't know for certain. There's no way to say that's complete speculation. But wow, that's an exciting trailer. A lot to digest, a lot to talk about here. Yeah, I'm excited for season 3. I know a lot of people were really salty on season 2, saying it jumped the shark and it like it wasn't good. And I wholeheartedly disagree. I think I'm in the minority. I don't know. I feel a lot of people did like it. I would say it's split pretty 50-50, but I'm in the side that really did love season 2. And like I said, I like the changes that they're making. And I think I said this in my final video for season 2. but it almost feels like House of the Dragon is a remix of Fire and Blood rather than a straight adaptation. I think what it's doing is taking the core plot points. There is some like remixes to the core plot points, like originally in the book, Alicent and Rhaenyra were not childhood friends slash potential lovers, which is a core part of the show. Their relationship was changed. In the book, it's almost the evil stepmother, young daughter trope. Alicent's 10 years older than Rhaenyra. So it's that kind of dynamic. The stepmother that didn't love the father's original daughter from the first wife. That's the kind of dynamic they're portraying in the book. And I actually like the show's dynamic a lot more, of them being childhood best friends slash lovers, and I think that's a big improvement. So I feel like a lot of these changes are improvements, but it's also a remix in the sense that it's like I said, there's gaps in the story of what characters could have been doing at certain times that are not filled in by George in the book. That it's up to interpretation of what happened here. Whether there's theories posited by other characters about what happened here, or there's just no information. It's a complete information gap. I like that the show is saying, this is what we think happened here, and filling those gaps in. I think that's fine. I think it's clever as long as it's good. Key figures missing from the trailer. We did not get Helena at all in the trailer. Wonder what she's up to. We did not get Alice Rivers in the trailer. We did not get Sharko Lohar in the trailer. I'm interested to see what this covers, because I think this trailer almost felt like it could entirely be the first episode, maybe the first 2 episodes. I feel like knowing from my knowledge of what happens next in the books, I think this could just be entirely episode 1. I don't know. I would say probably, to be fair, episode 2 as well, but it's not really beyond that from what I'm seeing here. So I'm very curious. Maybe we'll get a bigger trailer down the line that shows a bit more. I almost don't want to see more. I almost want to be surprised. So yeah, that's about it for this trailer reaction / breakdown. I know it was more off the cuff initial reaction, but I hope you guys enjoyed it just as much as my more edited scripted videos. I just kind of wanted to talk about this because it's very exciting. It's very exciting. So yeah, thank you all for watching.